welcome back to my channel. I am Britt, and if you haven't subscribed yet, you probably should because I talk about geeky things, and today we're getting geeky about acting again. So welcome back to Acting 101. I am your teacher, Britt. I have been acting pretty much my entire life. I've been directing for most of my adult life, and so I know a thing or two about acting. And today we're going to talk about classical acting, or what it means to be classically trained. So I am a classically trained actor. What does that mean? Not a heck of a lot, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I mean, it does. I do not want to crap on anybody who really holds that very near and dear to their heart. They are classically trained. If you're classically trained and that's part of your identity as an actor, you know what? Honestly, go for it. It is certainly part of my identity as an actor. But just because it is just the truth of how I was trained as an actor. So let's go ahead and talk about classical acting and what it means to be classically trained. Shall we? Let's do it. So what is classical acting? Classical acting is an umbrella term for a bunch of acting styles that were developed in Europe or in European countries between the 5th and 16th centuries. All these different styles involves using the whole body to tell the story, the whole body to do acting, which is part of how the training works, which we'll get to in a minute. Obviously, there is concepts of classical acting around the world, specifically like in Japan and India, but when most United States actors or American actors in general or English-speaking actors talk about classical acting or being classically trained, it's going to involve these styles that were created in Europe. So this will not involve classical acting of different non-English speaking countries, or specifically, like I said, Japan and India, who have very specific classical acting styles. If you've ever heard the term Shakespearean actor, this also comes from classical acting to an extent. It's kind of a faction of classical acting. It's not entirely encompassed in classical acting, because I am certainly not a Shakespearean actor, which I've talked about before. I can't do Shakespeare to save my life. However, generally, Shakespearean actors are also classically trained. Some famous classical actors would include Orson Welles, Patrick Stewart, Kenneth Branagh, Ian McKellen, Judi Dench, Cate Blanchett, and Benedict Cumberbatch. So what does it mean to be classically trained as an actor? What that generally means is that you have taken on a bunch of different not just acting classes, so not just how to be a good actor, because those are usually going to teach you method acting, but you're also going to take classes that would involve, again, use of the whole body, or use or classes that would teach you how to use your body as an instrument in general. So there are going to be a lot of different very unusual classes. So classes that are going to teach you how to use your voice, whether that's singing or speaking. You're going to learn things like stage combat. You are going to learn movement and how to use your body just in general. There are a ton of places all over the English-speaking world, and probably all over like the European world specifically, that'll teach you this form of classical acting. The most famous in the United States is the Juilliard School. A lot of people you'll hear went to Juilliard. This is a very expensive private school that teaches performing arts just in general, and a lot of people are very fortunate to be able to go there. I was not one of those people. There are going to be some people who are going to hate on me and say that I'm not classically trained because I didn't go to one of these schools. However, I did get classically trained from the time that I was in high school, because I was taught by a classically trained actor who did go to, not Juilliard, but did go to one of these schools. Plus, I also went to college, and even though acting was not my major or my minor in college, I still took acting classes and classical acting, again, those kinds of classes that would make me officially a classically trained actor. So what kind of classes can you take to be considered a classically trained actor? You want to take voice and movement classes. So these kinds of classes, again, are going to be teaching you how to use your body as a voice. So these kinds of classes are going to be very yoga involved. You can also take just yoga classes, but very yoga involved, where you are moving your body and manipulating your body to tell a story. So you are trying to, basically, our final for my voice and movement class was to basically put on a play without words. and just move. Again, you can take just yoga classes. Yoga classes are, again, really great way to become in tune with your body. It is a great warm-up also to do if you're an actor. Like, I don't do it a ton when I'm doing voice acting, but if I'm going on stage or if I'm going in front of the camera, I'm actually doing yoga beforehand because it's such a great way to connect with your body and to remember what your body can do and to be thankful for the things your body can do, and it's fantastic. And it, again, it's just a really great way to get in tune with your body right before you're about to use it. You can take dance classes because, again, it's all about telling the story without using words, without using your voice. So one of my favorite dance classes that I took, it was a modern dance. So specifically, I would say ballet, modern dance, any of those other dance classes are going to be more about fun, and not that they shouldn't be fun, because obviously you should have fun regardless of what you're doing, but, which is why I don't do ballet, because I don't like ballet. I love watching it. Ballet is beautiful, but I am not a ballerina in any way, shape, or form. I do not enjoy doing it. I enjoy watching it, and I think it's beautiful, but I do not enjoy doing ballet. But either way, you should obviously always have fun. However, that being said, modern dance and ballet are designed in a way to tell a story, where jazz classes aren't designed necessarily. You can tell a story with a jazz dance. You can tell a story with a hip hop dance. Absolutely, you can do that. But the concept of those dances were created for athleticism. They were created for fun. They were created to put dance to a certain type of music. But modern dance and ballet were specifically created to tell a story without words. They were there to tell a story. So those kinds of dance classes are the ones that I usually recommend to people. Try out, enjoy. Athletes, if you're an athlete, ballet is fantastic because, again, it's just such a great way to get in tune with your body, because you have to be so in tune with your body when it comes to ballet, so in tune with your body. Again, stage combat classes, a lot of these are going to be designed around sword fighting or martial arts, which is really great for me because I am a martial artist by trade. I am actually a martial artist, and so it's a lot of fun to be able to learn how to not hit people, but still I can make it look like I'm actually hitting people, because, again, as a martial artist, you have to be so in tune with your body to know where your body is to make sure that you're kicking in the right place or punching in the right place. So I have a really good intuitive brain to be able to kick and stop right before I hit somebody, but that also helps that I studied stage combat. So but again, those are going to be more focused on actual combat, actual like touching, whether that's swords or punches and kicks. There is obviously stage combat specifically for like gun wielding and things like that, because there are specific ways that you need to hold a gun depending on your character, because certain types of people who have guns are going to hold guns in different ways based on their comfort level or how they were trained, or if they were trained at all, that kind of thing. So there is some of that in stage combat, but for the most part, if you're getting into a stage combat class, it's going to be martial arts and sword fighting. And it's really fun because anytime I watch sword fighting at all, I will be able to notice still, I'll be able to call it the Perriers, and it's my favorite thing in the entire world. Vocal lessons. I would say singing vocal lessons is a good one. I'm not much of a singer. I know I don't have a great voice. I don't have a good voice. But I enjoy singing, and singing helps me understand rhythm. It helps me understand my vocal range. It helps me understand what I can do with my voice. So even though I don't sing well, I've still sung for a very, very, very long time. I have been a singer since I was in 5th grade because I know that is so important as an actor to continue using that portion of your body, of your instrument, because of the fact that, again, it helps with rhythm. If you want to be like a voice actor and you want to do like anime, singing vocal lessons are fantastic. So are dance classes, oddly enough, because the thing about dubbing over for anime is that you have to, now I don't do it, but I have friends that do, so I feel like I can really speak on it pretty decently in that regard. But everybody that I've been friends with that is an anime voice actor has told me multiple times that it's all about rhythm, because you're matching a flap, you're also hearing 3 beeps, and then you have to start at the 4th imaginary beep, so you have to understand how those rhythms work. And so doing vocal singing lessons is really key, really important, and you're never not learning as an actor. Please remember that. You are never not learning as an actor. I am constantly still learning as an actor. Then there are vocal speaking classes. So vocal speaking classes are going to be the ones that are going to take you through all of the like tongue twisters, like Sally sells seashells by the seashore, those kinds of things, because again, it's going to help you understand diction. It's going to help you understand how to enunciate properly based on where you are. Like here for this camera, I'm enunciating correctly, but I'm also not over enunciating, because that would be weird. There are some YouTubers, like I love Sophia Nygaard, but she over enunciates for something that's in video. That's something you want to do on stage. So again, it's going to help you understand how to enunciate properly for your audience to understand how to or help your audience understand you. So if I'm like standing here and I'm speaking like this is a little much, because this is, first of all, not my normal speaking voice, but it is also me over enunciating certain words, because if this were on stage, you would now be able to fully understand what I am saying. Because if you're talking like you normally do, that can sound kind of muffled actually to somebody that is so many like seats back. Now that was over exaggerated. I probably wouldn't even do that on stage, but there is a certain level of over enunciating that you do have to do on stage that people think you have to do even on camera, and it's crazy. That's why I think these kinds of like speaking vocal classes are so important, because it's going to again teach you enunciation. It's going to teach you how not to get tongue-tied regardless of what you're saying. It is something that I still can't get through my head on how to do Shakespeare, because it's going to also teach you about iambic pentameter and how you use iambic pentameter even in regular speaking. However, I still just can't get it through my head on how to do Shakespeare. So one day, maybe one day I'll learn. One day my brain will understand how to speak Shakespeare, because my brain understands Shakespeare. I can read Shakespeare just fine. I can watch Shakespeare and understand it. I just can't speak it. There are also accent classes you can take. I actually had to get an accent coach for a play that I did, because I had to do an Irish brogue, and clearly not Irish. As a matter of fact, that class taught me how to have a more neutral American accent. So a lot of what you hear from me is actually from my accent class. This is not what I originally sounded like. It is what I sound like now, because it's just become habit to speak like this. But I definitely had a pretty decent Minnesota accent when I was a kid. And I still do, because I still say yeah. I don't say yeah. That sounds weird. Yeah. That sounds weird. Yeah. Yeah, but I do still say yeah, or yeah, and I do say you betcha, and I do say sure instead of sure, but those are just things that sound like sure sounds weird to me, and sometimes I'll say it, sure, but it's sure. So I do still have a slight Minnesotan accent, but for the most part, and some people can pick it out, like if I'm on the phone with somebody from like another part of the country, they're like, "Are you in Minnesota?" And I'll be like, yeah. And literally ja is actually me just saying yes in Norwegian. It's J-A, but that's kind of a different topic. But anyway, from that class I did actually learn how to do a more neutral American accent. So a lot of what you hear is definitely that. However, it also taught me how to do an Irish brogue. And it also is going to teach you how to move your sound around in your mouth. Because that's something that people don't understand when they think they're doing an accent. Like if they think they're doing a British accent, they're not, because they're just dropping their R's. They're just doing this, and that's all they're doing, is they're dropping their R's, and they think that that is just a simple UK accent, and that's all they do. And they talk a little higher. Where in all reality, there's a ton of different accents that push the sound all over their mouths in the UK. You know, I can't do a Liverpoolian accent. I can do some London accents. I'm not going to do any accents right here, right now, because I'm not prepared. I'm I'm not warmed up to do that. But for example, the Irish accent is very pushed forward. So the Irish and Scottish accents are very, very similar. The only difference is where the sound is in your mouth. So with the Irish accents pushed forward to the dental, where in Scottish it's pushed further back into the guttural. Now if you're in the United States, chances are very good you speak very gutturally. That's a very United States thing to do. Where the UK, for the most part, tends to be really palatal, so they tend to push theirs up. A French accent is going to be very nasal, so you're going to be pushing a lot of the sound out of your nose. So those accent classes are also going to teach you how to move sounds around in your mouth. That is sounds that are going to feel really unnatural at first. So I tend to be very guttural, so all of my sound is right here in the back of my mouth and in my throat, where if I push things forward to my dental region, you'll notice that the sound changed and it also became a little bit louder. And like I said, if I push all my sound through my nose, you're gonna notice even a different sound. And I'm not changing my voice, I'm just changing where the sound is going. I'm not actually changing my voice at all. I'm just pushing it through my nose instead of having it originate down here. The sound doesn't resonate down here. It resonates right here in my nose and in my nasal cavities here. So that's something that's really important that you can really learn a lot of stuff from is accent classes. Another one, which goes with the movement classes, is mime class. And this always makes me laugh whenever this joke comes up in Friends, where Chandler talks about his movement class and then Monica says that's Chandler's way of saying he didn't take mime or something like that. It was either that or Ross, but that always makes me laugh because they are very different. The idea is the same. You're still telling a story without using your voice, but miming is a very specific art, where movement, like I said, my movement class, it was actually called voice and movement. We didn't really use our voices, so I think it should have been listed as voice with, or like voice through movement or something like that, but they didn't name it that. Anyway, so movement classes, while the end result is essentially the same, what you're learning is essentially the same, the way you go about it is completely different. So miming is a very specific art form, whereas movement is not a very specific art form. So there's that. And then finally, my favorite, because I have done it for a very long time, that is improv. And I'm not necessarily talking about whose line is it anyway, though that is always a great warm-up. No. So it can always be funny. The improv that I did in high school was not. We talked about very triggering topics, but improv is so ridiculously important. Improv helps you think on your feet. So if you're in the middle of a play and somebody misses a cue, you're able then, as an improv person, able to pull everybody back by saying something that will try and trigger everything back to where it should have been. And that's so important. It's also really important because it helps you really just think about the words that you're saying and the words that you're going to say. Plus, it helps you really understand how to work with others and how to collaborate, which is also so incredibly important, especially if you're doing like a play, because you have to be able to collaborate with one another. Like the number one rule of improv is yes and. What this means is if somebody says, you know, my mom's from Mars, right? You're not supposed to go, I don't believe you. You're supposed to go, I know your mom's from Mars. We went to Mars together. You know, we had dinner on Mars. Oh, she told me about that. And then this happened. Oh, yep. And then this happened. Oh, then this happened. And you just keep building on with what each other are saying. Because if you negate what they're saying, you get stuck. So you don't want to negate. You always yes and. So it is a fantastic way to learn how to collaborate with others and think on your feet and think about the words you're saying and the words you're about to say. Plus, it also helps you do the whole notion of when you learn your lines, you're supposed to forget your lines and then remember them as you speak them, because it's supposed to be the best way to perform lines. So there you go. Those are some of my recommendations about classes you should be able to take that will allow you to call yourself a classically trained actor, because you are learning how to use your whole body as an instrument to tell a story. So you guys have it. That is classically trained acting or classical acting. If you guys have any questions about any of those specifics, let me know in the comments below and I will gladly make more videos or do a Q&A or something. But that is all. If you guys want to see when I talk about method acting, you guys can click right here. If you want to see all the acting videos I've ever done, you guys can click right here. The teacher is out. Click here to subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Click here to subscribe to my vlogging channel where I'm a pet mom and I'm just living living my best life as a pet mom, or my worst life, depends on the day with my cat. But anyway, I'll see you guys all next time. Bye.